The Buddha once said, "He who sits alone, lies down alone, walks alone, in diligent practice, and alone tames himself, should find delight in living in the forest." Living alone, being alone, can be scary for many people these days. Oftenly, our society portrays a successful life, a happier life, a good life, as a life where it is surrounded by people, surrounded by things. But there's a reason why almost all the spiritual practices, almost all the spiritual pathways praise and promote this living alone, life in the place of a solitude practice, a solitude life. And that is why almost all the religious leaders had to solitude themselves from these hassles and bustles of this society and go to these quiet places and find the liberation and find what they were looking for. Same went with the Supreme Buddha. Before he became the Buddha, he was a prince. He was living in a palace. He was indulging himself with this sensual pleasure. And then he understood, indulging in this sensual pleasure doesn't help me to find what I'm looking for. So what he did was he left the palace and he went from one forest to another, meditating, finding this peace, this ultimate peace, right? So living alone can be a blessing. It is a blessing when it is converted to a blessing, right? But living alone can be a curse as well for many people. That is why people most of the time they are scary. They're afraid of living alone, right? Most of the time people come to me and say, I'm lonely, I'm living alone, I'm living by myself, but I feel so much lonely, so much negative thoughts coming into my mind. What should I do? That is what happens when you turn this loneliness into a curse. Trust me, it all depends on how you think and how you use this time. I will tell you a story. Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha, left the palace and he went to a forest. Although he went to a forest, there were 5 monks who was waiting for him to come to the forest. There were 5 monks who were helping Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha, with the meditation before his awakening. And then these 5 monks had this idea that only way to find the liberation is by giving these tortures and doing these hard meditations and harsh meditations and extreme meditations. So we call it Atta Kilamatthana Yoga, which we can translate into English as self-mortification, right? Now, Prince Siddhartha left one extreme when he left the palace. That extreme is, the Buddha described this as the extreme of sensual pleasures, indulging in the sensual pleasures. That was one extreme. And then Prince Siddhartha came to the other extreme, where he practiced this self-mortification, giving these extreme and harsh meditations to the body. And then those 5 monks, they believed that this is the only way for the liberation. So Prince Siddhartha was practicing these meditations for 6 years. And finally he understood, this extreme, being in this extreme, doesn't help me either. So then he found the middle path, the middle way. And that is to live a spiritual life by balancing his material and spiritual life both, right? And that is why after that decision, he decided to take some food to his body. After a long time he had taken some food to his body, he grabbed his alms bowl and went on begging alms and find some food and had it. Now all those 5 monks had a lot of expectations on Prince Siddhartha. And then they saw this incident. And then they became disappointed. They said, "Oh, what a disappointment. We believed him. We had a lot of expectations on him. But look what now happened. He's taking food. Maybe soon he will go back to his palace and he will live a normal life again. So the best decision is to take is to leave him. So what happened? All these 5 monks left Prince Siddhartha. And after this alms round, he came back to the forest, and he saw everyone had left. No one was there. Prince Siddhartha was alone. Then he found this perfect environment, perfect place to be focused more into himself. That was because he was all alone. Right? He got the opportunity to be by himself. Right? Focus more into himself. And one day, he sat under the Bodhi tree and he became awakened. He became enlightened. Right? So this solitude, when it is turned to, when it is used in the correct way, it can be a blessing for you. Right? And the same solitude can be turned into a curse as well. Right? Most of the people, they complain me about the loneliness. I always say to them, when you're lonely, your thought process generates a certain energy within you. Right? And that can be negative. Now let's say you are in this negative energy environment and a negative energy thought process. You all know in science we learn about, according to science, it says that energy cannot be produced or destroyed. Now you have your energy within you, but it is negative, right? Now you can't destroy this negative energy, right? What we are trying in this whole life is to destroy this negative energy. Well, we can't do that. The only thing that we can do is to convert this negative energy, drive this negative energy to something positive, right? So how can we drive this loneliness, this energy to something positive? One of the biggest reasons why people feel lonely is because they lack an aim, a goal to their life. If they have a goal and aim that they should work on, if they have a system that they should work on, then they don't feel that much lonely because they have something to do. They have something to engage with it. Right? So this can go either, people can have either material goals or spiritual goals, but everyone must have these spiritual goals within themselves, no matter what life they are coming from, right? Because finally, there will be a time in all of our lives that we come to this lonely place. One day we have to be by ourselves with no one else around us, right? At that time, if we don't have any quality, any spiritual quality that we have practiced within us, we'll start feeling lonely again and again. And it will start to build up this negative energy within us. Okay? And sometimes we can be too late for that, to make it correct. So the best thing is to learn how to convert this negative energy to something positive. Right? To do that, you have to have a goal and an aim for yourself, to yourself. Always ask from yourself, what should I do in my life? Who should I become in my life? What should I build up? What qualities should I work on in my life? If you found, we will always find some qualities that we should work on, right? Some mistakes that we have, some weaknesses within us. If we can work on those weaknesses and make it correct, that time will help you to be more successful, more productive, right? More happy and a more peaceful person. But to do that, what do you need? You need time, right? You need time to be focused on yourself. And what gives you the best time to be focused on yourself is the time when you are all alone, right? And that is why I always say for people, have a time during the day only for yourself, a separate time. Probably people call it me time. Okay, that's a good thing. Having a me time for yourself during the day is essential. Okay, so I would say as a practical thing, apply it to your life. That is to have a separate, at least 15 minutes. It's okay. No matter how much you spend the time, but if it is for yourself, that is helpful. right? At least spend a 15 minutes of time, right? Sitting down, being by yourself, all alone, right? Not with your mobile phones, not with your Netflix account, not with your movies or anything. Just be by yourself, right? And then learn how to be with your own thoughts, right? Then only we can be more focused to ourselves, right? So I hope you got some idea about how to convert this loneliness into the solitude. So apply this little practice to your life and enjoy the solitude in your life. Namo Buddhaya.